Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Pavani and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good this morning. Let's have a positive start. The bird is powered by its own life and by its motivation, has been said by APJ Abdul Kalam. What do you understand from this statement? Don't forget to pass your opinion and your understanding on this statement in the comment section of this video. With this, let me introduce all of you very briefly to what we have got on our table today. This one is about a good beginning. It's about Kaveri Authority, right? The work has already started. You know that there was a first meeting of this authority, and there are some problems as well going on with this Kaveri issue. Even today, right, we find that problems are ongoing, so which is again a matter of concern for the whole country, because what's going on here will be replicated in other parts of our country as well. We'll talk about it in detail. Then you have this Jalalabad gauntlet. This is about ISIS attack on Sikhs and Hindus. You know, recently there was a big suicide attack in Afghanistan. We'll talk about it. Then you have this lead. It's about bilateral limits of hype. It's about India and USA's relationship, bilateral relationship. This particular article is interesting because it is talking, or basically it will take us through, you know, a different side of relationship between India and USA. We'll talk about it in detail. Then you have an article on Kabir, very interesting article again. And then you have these two articles here. This one is an interview of Sharad Pawar, and it's a political interview. If you have extra time, help yourself with it, or else it's fine. If you are interested in politics, right, then of course you should quickly have a quick glance over this article. And this one is about all those students who are going to Australia, right, for higher education. It's a sort of tips and hints, right, that you need to follow before you get on board to a flight. With this, dear friends, got a good news for all of you. Monsoon sales are on. They are going to last till 9th of July. Up to 50% discount is provided to you on our pen drive and tablet courses. Check out StudyIQ.com. With this, we have already launched a test series, right? 10th July is going to be, the first test series will be provided to you on 10th of July. So you have got, 6 days to go. Make sure you register it ASAP. It is available both in Hindi and English. Find out more about it on testseries.studyiq.com. I will share the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page and Twitter handle. Thank you very much for sharing this lecture, right? And I will again request you guys to keep on sharing this lecture, and don't forget to hit the like button if you learned something from today's discussion. Now, a good beginning. The first meeting of Kaveri Water Management Authority took place, and one of the main job of this CWMA, that is Kaveri Water Management Authority, right, it is to make sure that it implements this decision that was taken by this Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal. And the final order, or this water sharing award, that was taken by this CWDT, and it was modified by Supreme Court on February 16th. Right, I got a couple of message from you guys that you want to go through this whole issue, or you want me to share these pictures that I have shared on 17th February 2018's The Hindu Analysis. So here you go, right? As you can see here, this is an issue dating back to 1924, and since 1970s, right, this things are going on. This political as well as legal battle is on. So you can see here 2015, 2016, right, there are many ups and downs, and finally let me take you to this final verdict rather than going through all this ups and downs. So finally, on 16th of Feb 2018, Supreme Court says its verdict on Kaveri water allocation will continue for next 15 years. And as per this, a little bit of change that was made by Supreme Court in its final verdict, you have total 740 TMC feet of water Out of that, 284.75 will be given to or will be allocated to Karnataka. It got earlier on, as per this tribunal, Karnataka was going to get 270 TMC feet, but now Supreme Court added 14.75 to it. Sad part for Tamil Nadu, right? It was going to get, or as per this tribunal, 419 TMC feet was allocated, but Supreme Court deducted 14.75, and this one was given to Karnataka, particularly for city of Bengaluru. So Tamil Nadu will get 404.25, Kerala no change, 30 TMC feet, Puducherry 7 TMC feet for environmental protection, 10 TMC feet has been kept on side, and inevitable escape to sea is 4 TMC feet. And in this verdict, right, it was decided that within 6 weeks' time, the tribunal has said that the scheme will include a specialist body called Kaveri Management Board to supervise reservoir operations and regulate releases. And the CMB will be an interstate forum of the technical experts with 3 whole-time members appointed by the centre and representatives of riparian states. You have 4 parties, as you can see here. You have Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. These are the 3 states, and one is your union territory. As you can see here as well, this whole starting, or this upper riparian state is Karnataka, and then you have Tamil Nadu, parts of Kerala and Puducherry. So I hope you have got a brief introduction about this issue, right, so far. Now, let's see what this meeting has got for us. This first Kaveri Water Management Authority meeting was reasonably smooth, right? You can also call it a successful meeting. And one of the main reasons why it is successful is because from last 1 month, what we are seeing is that southern part of our country, right, this portion here, particularly this portion, right, is having monsoon rainfalls. So because of this thing, there is an addition of water in this river. So as far as this distribution of water is concerned, it's not that, or it's not a big deal at present because of this monsoon season. The other thing that I would like to add here is that as far as this monsoon season is concerned, and monsoon season is going on, so this CWMA, that is Kaveri Water Management Authority, they will meet once every 10 days, and they will take a stock of rainfall data, inflows and cooperation of state, and outflows and cropping pattern and periodic withdrawal. All these things, right, all these important things will be reviewed, will be taken on board by this CWMA, and based on this thing, they will make sure that distribution of water is taking place as per the plan. Now, the big challenge will be around the corner once this monsoon is over, and God forbid, but in next dry season, right, after winter and this summertime, it's going to be a bit challenging for CWMA because in winter time you have this Rabi crop season, right, and in summertime this Zayad crop season, that is for fruits and vegetables. So this is going to be a challenging time when these farmers will be seeking more water for their field, and this could be a problem. But one more thing, if we have another look, a geographical angle, then you know that Tamil Nadu gets winter rainfall, right? It is called northeastern winds. They bring rain for some parts of Tamil Nadu, particularly this part, and some parts of Karnataka, that is bordering Tamil Nadu, and of course some parts of Kerala as well. So this may add this winter rainfall that this part of region gets. This may add some water, but because this climate change and this whole pattern of rainfall has changed. I'm not sure if you are aware about this thing. Earlier on, we used to get, say for example, this is your June, July, August, September, right? These 4 months are considered as monsoon season months. So now what we are finding nowadays is that pre-monsoon showers are a bit heavy, post-monsoon showers are a bit heavy, and in between we have long dry spell. And overall, if you calculate, then water has gone down a little bit, right? Distribution has got affected as well. We see that in many regions we find floods. At the same time, many regions are going through droughts. So it's a big challenge for the whole country. As I told you, that whatever happens here will be replicated in other parts of our country as well. As you can see here, this is a long issue that has been going on for a very long period of time, nearly, you can say, nearly 100 years, right? If we talk about this inception of this whole issue and where we are at present. So definitely there are high chances that it will be replicated in other parts of our country. One thing that we have to focus on, and I think I have said this thing many a times, but it is very important, I have to say this thing, that 80%, right? If you talk about soft water or this fresh water, right, that we use for different purpose, then 80% usage of this thing is for agriculture. This is something that is not sustainable at all. At the same time, just imagine food waste. If you waste a bowl of rice, then you have not just wasted that bowl of rice, but you have also wasted this water that was used for production of that rice. So we need to do what Israel is doing. We need to do what Madagascar is doing, right? We need to learn from the best practices that is going on or practiced by different countries, and only then, supply and demand, both these things have to be managed. You cannot just rely on extra supply. You have to also work on this demand, more efficiency in every way of our life. May it be taking short showers or not washing your cars with soft water, right? Using only recycled water for all these items. If this big change, if we can develop this change, a cultural change in our country, then we can conserve water, or else it's going to be very bad in future, right? It's not just about this 4 states, it's about environment, it's about sustainability of our life as well. Now, so this Karnataka is not happy about this whole thing. It is going to knock the doors off a Supreme Court against central government. You have this Interstate River Disputes Act 1956, and as per this act, right, it is centre's duty to notify a scheme to implement the award of a tribunal. But now Karnataka is saying that it cannot just directly implement it. It has to discuss and get a green signal of Parliament. So this is something that will be debated in the Supreme Court. Let's wait and watch. But one thing that every party associated with this Kaveri issue, they should know that rather than dragging this matter, it is very important, very, very important that they cooperate with this body, as well as they cooperate with each other together, right? Either they will sink or they will swim. This is something that they have to understand. With this, we reach to another important editorial. It is about Jalalabad. Now, Jalalabad is a place in Afghanistan. Sadly, 19 people died, and most of them were from Sikh and Hindu communities, right? They are minorities, of course, in Afghanistan, and they were attacked by a suicide attacker, and we lost this 19 people. The other important thing that I must draw your attention at is that these victims were traveling in a bus, and they were supposed to meet President Ashraf Ghani. So this is again a big, you can say, red signal that you can imagine the security of people. The other thing is security of minority is under danger in Afghanistan. The other thing, and one of the most important thing why this sort of things are going on, because if you look at the political as well as the security establishment in Afghanistan, then it is it is not up, or it is not that good or best. You find opposition leaders in Afghanistan who are not happy with central government or this government of Afghanistan or ruling party because of their stand on Taliban. Recently, Ashraf Ghani tried his level best. Basically, the government gave this offer to this Taliban people that we are ready to pardon you for your crimes if you drop weapons forever. If you are ready to join the mainstream, if you are ready to give up this ideology of Taliban, then we are ready to forget what you have done and we can have a fresh start. Again, it's not that bad if you see what's going on in Afghanistan for nearly nearly 15 years or more than that. And if you go back a little bit, then you find somewhere around in 80s and late 70s and early 80s, you know, this USSR and then USA's issue and all these things. So it has faced troubles throughout its history. If you go back a little bit, then as well, you will find, right, in medieval era, in this colonial era as well, Afghanistan was in a bit of trouble. It has seen many wars. So definitely not for a country that is already mountainous, you know, terrain is tough over there, and then you have this sort of issues going on. So it becomes very difficult, nearly impossible for a country to head or to, you can say, run or walk on a trail of development. It becomes nearly impossible. The other thing is, this attack was conducted not by Taliban, but it was conducted by ISIS. Now, ISIS, you know, it faced a big blow on its face in Iraq and Syria. Its dominance, you know, it's that fear that ISIS used to carry a couple of years ago. Now, it's not that much in this Iraq and Syrian portion. But it has started, you know, penetrating in different parts. And Afghanistan is a place where it can easily recruit people from Taliban. It can exploit this as a whole situation, and that's what they are doing here, right? They are exploiting this weak political and security establishment that we have in Afghanistan. The other thing is they first ISIS used to attack Shia community people, and now they have started attacking Sikhs and Hindus. So basically they are, you know, expanding their terror operations in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, nearly 50% of portion is under Taliban's control. There are a few pockets that are at present under control of ISIS, and they are expanding. So this issue is a very serious issue, and at the same time USA is not that energetic at present, you know, as far as this means. Earlier on they used to cooperate, but now they are taking it as a burden. So this is a sad situation of Afghanistan. So that's everything that we can talk about this thing. Moving on to another item, and this one is about this India and USA's relationship. Now, one thing that you find common between Mr. Modi and Mr. Trump is that you know, both these leaders they talked about making their own country, right? Mr. Modi talked about, you know, when he was campaigning for 2014 election, he talked about this lost glory and how this lost glory can be achieved again by our country, that we have this potential and we used to be this knowledge capital of the world. During this Nalanda and Taxila period, we used to have the scientists and poets, and first missile was developed by our country, and there are so many other innovations that we talked about in different regions, right? Our agriculture and diversity and so many things. Something similar, right? Of course, based on what USA used to have, based on this thing, Mr. Trump also campaigned that USA has lost that glory, and his leadership has this potential to make sure that this glory will come back to USA and things like that. Now, if we see relationship between USA and India, right, we talk about this thing that both the countries have said again that we are each other's, or USA has said that India is net security provider of Indo-Pacific region. They have also said that India is USA's major defense partner and all these things. But at the same time, what we find is that recently this meeting, this dialogue, India-USA 2+2 dialogue, I'm sure you know that it includes Minister of External Affairs and Defense Minister from both sides. So 2+2, that's why it is called 2+2. So this was postponed for you can say, of course, a diplomatic reason. They give you this reason that dates and other issues are there, so we will meet very soon, etc. That's what you find in news. But the actual reason, the real reason is that, recently Mr. Trump had a meeting with the North Korean leader, and he is going to meet Mr. Putin. So his main focus at present, the main agenda, or the main two things that are, or two countries in fact, that are occupying attention of Mr. Trump is, one is this North Korea and the other one is Russia. So of course India is not something, or it's not a country that USA in real world, right, we are talking about, it's not a country that USA is that much worried about. So this is the thing. The other thing is, one more thing that you find common between both these leaders is that they have talked about many a times that their predecessor, all those problems that our country or USA is facing, is because of their predecessors. That means either Manmohan Singh or could be other leaders, right? Now, of course, this is a political thing. I'm not saying this is completely right. Of course, it's not completely right. And to some extent, you can say it's not completely wrong too, right? But it's not that all the problems that we have are because of a particular political party. And it's not that one particular political party will solve all the problems of our country. It's not possible. It's 130 crore people have to work together as a team. Only then we can change the things that are going on, all these changes that we want to see in our country, right? Now, one statement that was said by a former ambassador, USA's ambassador to India, he said that nobody wakes up in DC daily thinking of India. DC means, of course, Washington DC. That means India is not something that is in the mind of USA's leader on regular basis, right? This is a very important statement coming out. The other thing is, we talk about Pakistan, but one thing, I'm not sure if all of us are aware about this fact, that after UK, Pakistan is the longest ally of USA. And you see the way things are going on. You know that a couple of days ago we were talking about this thing, that Pakistan, it is kept under this grey list, and all these things are true. But USA will not stop its support to Pakistan, because Pakistan is the only way through which it can enter Afghanistan. The other thing is, this fact too, that it is one of the longest ally, and it will not keep all its eggs in one basket. Like, rather than investing everything in India, that is not something how countries roll, right? They will keep a little bit of investment in Pakistan as well. So when necessary, they can twist Indian arm too. So this is how it works. Now, Mr. Trump has repeatedly mentioned India and China many a times. He has blamed us for climate and trade deals. He has blamed us for intellectual property laws and trade and subsidy exports and other things. He is hopefully going to visit, he is going to become our guest on this 2019's Republic Day parade, and this is going to be a big show of body language and chemistry and relationship between both these countries. But in real world, what happens is that if you have a good relationship with any country, let's take India and USA, then it means it cannot be all good. You will have some issues and problems too. But the problem is, right, we are projecting that yes, we have very good relationship, but for USA we are not the first priority. Now, moving on to another item, dear friends, this is about Kabir, right? A very famous poet, you can say, or saint, you can say, Sufi saint. Kabir was, of course, outstanding, right? I have read a book on Kabir a long time ago, somewhere around 2-3 years ago. A very, it's a book not written, but it's book that was made from Osho's speech. The fish in the water is not thirsty, something like that, right? The name or the title of the book is. And basically this book I have, this Osho has explained all these poems and lines of Kabir's Bijaks, right? So it's definitely beautiful, right? It's not that you can remember all these things, but you can definitely, a bit of essence, a small portion will stay with you once you go and once you understand Kabir. Now, the other thing is, if you go through this article, this is the one, right? This one, you will find so many names here, right? So many names, and not just Indian names. You will find names from China, you'll find names from UK, you'll find names from different parts of the world, right? Research is going on Kabir. There are so many historians doing research on Kabir. And 2018, right? It's going to be 500th anniversary, death anniversary of this one of the famous poet of our country. But we are hardly going to see any sort of major celebration. This is a sort of sad part, because you see Kabir's many of the things that Kabir has said are part of Guru Granth Sahib as well. Then you will find that Tagore has translated his work into English, but apart from him, the only poet whose work Tagore has translated is of Kabir's. There are, even today we are not that sure, but heuristic means the best logical or educational guess that you can take. So all these different historical facts, or historians, they agree on this thing that he lived till 1518, but still we don't have any solid evidence. You find modern readers as well. See, Kabir was there 500 years ago, somewhere around 500 years ago. But even today, modern readers and listeners are fascinated by his work. So he's a big name in our country, right? Kabir is a symbol of unity of all different communities. He is a symbol of this acceptance, right? That is, I can say, Indianness, that you can worship your faith, or you can worship your Lord, your Allah, your God, your Bhagwan in many different ways, but it will take you to one place. Something like this has been said by Kabir. He has also talked about inner cleanness, that if your heart is not pure, then if you go to Kasi or Kaaba, it is going to be, there is no point, as far as if your heart is not clean, then there's no point to visit Kaaba or Kasi. That's a famous you can say line said by Kabir. So dear friends, now you have these two articles. This one is about Australia, right? If you are going to Australia, then you are going to get a cultural shock, because here that we call our teachers, we refer them with sir and madam, but over there you can just take their name. Say, for example, if my name is Prashant, then you can directly call me Prashant, and there will be no offense at all. If you use something similar, means I have no problem with it. But if you use the same style of reference with professors, then they will get offended, of course. So this is a big change in culture. Apart from that, this how they assess, how you conduct your research, and all these things. So it's basically, if anyone is going there, then just go through this article. Anyways, dear friends, most important item that I find for you guys today is this one: consult UPSC for selecting police chiefs. I'm sure you all are aware about this thing, that most of this DGPs are basically, they reach this highest post because they have some good, strong political connection. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but this is a reality. So now Supreme Court has directed the state government to consult UPSC. It has provided these guidelines that before 3 months, you should pass a couple of names, and UPSC, without consultation of UPSC, you cannot go ahead and appoint a DGP. You cannot give them overnight extension and things like that. So very important news item here. Hopefully we will find some editorials and articles. And Prakash Singh is a big name. He was ex-IPS officer. He is in fact ex-IPS officer. He was the main person who filed this petition in Supreme Court, and back in 2006 Supreme Court came out with this 7 police reforms, which are still not completely implemented by different states. Then you have this news item, right? Stop spread of fake news has been said to WhatsApp by the government of India. This is something that WhatsApp should take very seriously. And dear friends, I have talked about this thing in PIB analysis as well. Let me tell you that PIB analysis is available in English too. So make sure that you are following PIB too, because it is very important for various different exams. You find so many things that are not mentioned in various newspapers. You find it in PIB, particularly all those news items that are associated with ministry. So do check out PIB, and I do come out with, I deliver a special topic on regular basis. Like if you check 3rd July's PIB, then you will find we have raised many questions on this new recommendation by central government on organ donation. So make sure you check it out, and then you can decide. Then Supreme Court verdict on Centre Delhi power tussle is going to be delivered today. Jaitley has slammed this state government or state police cannot investigate central government functionaries. This will be against this federal structure. Election Commission has launched a C Vigil. Again, I have discussed this thing in PIB. C Vigil is going to be revolutionary. Basically, it is a mobile app through which if model code of conduct is applicable in your area, and if you find something wrong is going on, then you can file your complaint using this C Vigil app. Revolutionary. India and UK's relationship have this lack of trust. And then I have two articles or two important news item for you guys from Economic Times. You see here switched off, you can see 40,000 crore is at stake, investment of 40,000 crore, because you know this big names Adani, Tata, SR, all these big companies, giant power plants are established in Gujarat, but they are not operating, or they are operating at loss and things like that. And one of the reason is, you know, coal prices have gone up. At the same time, rupee has weakened, and you cannot sell power. You know, there is a threshold. After that, it's not viable. So because of this external issues, right, these power plants are facing a bit of problem. And this is just a beginning, right? You know, other power plants around the country can face similar situation. You have this item that you find in, again, Economic Times, and it is about this AMC, that is asset management companies that are going to be set up. This recommendation of Mehta Committee has been accepted, Sunil Mehta Committee, and Mr. Finance Minister Piyush Goyal has said that it has accepted these proposals of this AMC, asset management companies. So you find here that this NPAs will be dealt by this AMC. They will follow this IBC rules and regulation, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, and promoters they can have up to 24% stake in this this non-performing asset. It has also talked about, this committee, that the bank's asset or bank's books should be cleaned, right, and they should be provided with a fresh start, and this AMCs can look after this NPAs. So let's wait and watch, but this is a very important news item. Help yourself with it. And then you have this animal here called koalas of Australia. It's a type of bear. New information has been received by scientists on this item. Dear friends, our UPSC pen drive and tablet course is available. It will help you with your pre and mains examination, and it's just 22,500 when you compare it with the coaching fees, just 2 lakh rupees, and on an average, right? And more than that, you have to pay you have to travel to different, you migrate to a big city, other expenses. So go through StudyIQ.com and take a very informed decision, and I'm sure you will realize that this is a win-win situation. With this, dear friends, these are your questions and these are your answers. That's everything. Today we have exceeded our time limit, but we have talked about some very important topics, isn't it? So thank you very much for your support. Make sure you do share this lecture with your friends, and don't forget to hit the like button. Jai Hind.